founder of the Millennial Slackers Guide. I got my mentor, friend, and selling professor extraordinaire, Ben Hippeli, here to chat with us about sales. I met Ben at some sort of UNF event. I was doing a presentation about the science of money. We connected. He used his sales tactics on me, and now here we are.
I don't know if sales tactics is the right word, Josh, but whenever there's a fit and value, then things come together, right?
Yeah, and that's why you're the professor and I'm the student. So we're not going to take a lot of time here. We just want to take a quick dive into a couple questions, and Ben's going to give us his insight on it. So we'll just get right into it. Let's not waste any time, right? We don't want to waste time in sales. We just get right into it. So let's talk about why people are scared of sales, Ben.
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that question. So a lot of times people are afraid of what, Josh?
Failure.
Yes.
Fear
Rejection.
of the unknown.
Right? Like, who wants to be rejected? That's like the worst feeling ever.
Everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die.
Exactly. So they're trying to avoid rejection. And a lot of times that comes from just not being trained, right? So they go in a situation where they feel like they're going to be in control, or they wish they were going to be in control. And when things aren't going their way, when the buyer on the other end doesn't say, yes, absolutely, here's my credit card, I'm ready to buy, they feel that potential rejection coming up, and they clench up and they don't know what to do. So people, when they feel that, they tend to stray away from sales. The difference is if you're trained and you're able to handle those types of conversations, then you actually get drawn to sales. A lot of salespeople who are really successful love their career and they would never do anything else.
Yeah, for sure. I was reading a book my partner gave me, Go for No.
Yeah.
And I guess they were saying in the book, every time someone says the word no, it's not, not hearing no, they're hearing not right now.
Yeah, not yet. They haven't said yes yet.
Exactly. So got to be consistent, persistent, follow up. I think it said a minimum, 5, 6 times?
7 is the minimum for sure. And each time, Josh, with added value, right? So sometimes you get these salespeople who want to just kind of shove whatever they're peddling down the buyer's throat because they've read that they got to ask 7 times to get a yes. The key here is you've got to ask 7 times with value. So it's asking, listening, identifying that value, then making that ask over and over again.
For sure. And how is sales important for each person's success? I mean, no matter what job you're in, whether it's a negotiation with your kids, your wife, or a coworker, I mean, sales isn't everything we do. So how can people leverage sales in order to become more successful?
Man, you're right on the money, and forgive the pun there, Josh, but it is in everything that we do. So when I'm working with students who tell me, I'm not interested in a sales career, why do I need to take this class? And then they realize that every interview they go on is a sale. When they're working with their teammates on a school project or their coworkers out in the real world, it's a sale. They're convincing somebody that they want to do something, which is what sales is all about. And of course, identifying the need and the value for both parties. And being able to do that in an interview, being able to do that with your kids, with your significant other, all of that is what helps you progress in life. So you got to have sales. It's in everything that we do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not looking to be negative here, but I feel like a doctor has the easiest sales job because they're like, all right, Josh, if you don't take this, this will happen to you. So the fear of that happening to me is like, all right, I will take this medicine. But in other things, whether it's, a spouse, a significant other, or a student or a partner, it's a lot more delicate than that. So I definitely understand where you are coming from.
So you bring up an interesting analogy, Josh. So one of the things that a lot of medical professionals look for is compliance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of lack of sales. So getting a prospect to say yes, but then not fulfill the actual goal, the actual product or relationship means nothing, right? What if someone says yes and then they just refund the order? You haven't made any money. You haven't crossed the finish line. So getting a patient to be compliant does take a lot of sales. And if in order for a medical professional to have compliance with their patients, they have to use all of the same tactics that sales professionals use. They have to listen, they have to
Right.
really understand the lifestyle of their patient, and then prescribe something that's going to work and allow their patient to be compliant. So it's a really important part.
So how should people be reacting when people say no or not interested? Just like be very nice, say, hey, like no worries, or continue the follow up. Um,
Yeah,
what sort of
it's
way?
a great question. So when someone says no, it means they haven't said yes yet, right?
Hmm.
And you want to follow what we call the 4 C's. So first, when you get a no or you get an objection, just cushion that part of the conversation. So a lot of times when you're talking to a salesperson, if they're not doing their job well, if you put in the brakes on the sales process, what are you expecting the salesperson to do as a reaction?
When they're putting the brakes on the reaction on the conversation,
Yeah, so if a buyer is putting the brakes on the conversation, what do you expect the salesperson to do if they're not trained?
not respond.
Not respond?
They may
Maybe
not
fight
respond
back?
at all. They may say, "Okay, have a good day."
Oh no, yeah, that'd be really bad. A lot of
I
times
mean,
what
I'm
you'll
I'm
see,
I'm 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 trying to pick like beginning sales
that's the
here.
worst of the worst, Josh. A lot of times what you're going to see is they're going to either ignore it, okay, and just act like it never happened and keep going, or they're going to push back, which makes the buyer defensive.
Mm.
So when you get that no,
That's how
really
I
what you
deal
want
with
to do,
trolls on social media.
yes.
Whenever I get something negative on social media, like I posted something in a golf Facebook group, and I had the shanks in golf. And if you ever had the shanks in golf, you can't hit the golf ball. It's like, hey, I have the shanks. Does anyone have any like suggestions? And like the first 5 comments is like quit. And then it was like pick up fishing, then quit. And I was just like laughing so hard. And it's like the same thing how the disengaged people on social media is sales and knowing how to cushion that blow that those people are giving you too.
Yeah, absolutely. So cushion, let the prospect know that you understand where they're coming from without using the words "I understand." Right? It's
Yeah.
very fake and very trite. You don't want to ever say that. So you want to show them you understand, and at the same time, you don't want to agree with their no. Right? You don't want to agree with your price is too high, and cushion by saying, "Oh yeah, you're right. Our price is too high." Okay, so show them you understand, not tell them, and don't necessarily agree with them 100%. So once you have that, make sure that you understand where the no is coming from, where the breaks are coming from. So that way you can have a conversation and help build a bridge between the two different perspectives and that you're covering the right topic.
Yeah. And that's crazy. So within sales, for people out there who are in sales, looking to get into sales, what was that biggest aha moment for you in sales when you know you wanted to make it your passion, your mission to help people such as myself who went through your coaching program, and I've been using the things that you taught me, and love to
Yeah,
hear that story.
that's a really good question. The aha moment, it's I'll never forget the first prospect that really hit me hard, that I realized that sales is not about having a quote unquote great presentation, right? The spray and pray method, having this great little dialogue or monologue really that you just spit out and then hope what happens. But whether you're watching a Hollywood movie or you're observing different sales professionals in different industries, one might think that to be a good salesperson, you got to have the best presentation, spray it out as best as you can. And my aha moment was realizing that listening to the prospect and really taking off my own shoes before I put on their shoes and understand their perspective, that was the biggest game changer by far. And I'll tell anybody out there who's in sales now or considering getting into sales, there are some great books, some great training courses you can take on how to sell. Before you do any of those great little tactics or hacks, the first thing you have to do, take off your own shoes, listen to what your prospect is saying, observe what they're experiencing, what they're going through, and then tie your solution to those specifics. If you can't do that, all the great closes and tactics in the world will get you nowhere. So that's definitely the biggest aha moment.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started sales. It was definitely just pound the table, pound it down people's throats. And you can do it that way, but it's just much easier if you just like ask good questions, listen. I feel like the best conversations are the ones I say 10 words or less.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm just
The
sitting
whole,
back and listening, and they're like, "Well, Josh, I really enjoyed this," and I'm like, "I didn't really say anything. You basically steered this ship for me, so thank you for that." And that's cool. That's really all the questions we got today for Ben Hippeli, the expert sales professor, Benchmark Training LLC. You can find him on LinkedIn, YouTube. He's on all the platforms. Got lots of free content too. So free content. Ben is giving lots of value for free. And if you find that valuable, then you need to DM him, message him on LinkedIn. Anywhere else,
absolutely.
Ben, people can find you?
Yeah, if we're not on LinkedIn, if you're watching this and we're not on LinkedIn already, man, that's not cool. So we gotta connect on LinkedIn. I've actually reached the maximum connections. So those of you who work at LinkedIn, you got to fix that. But until it gets fixed,
You
just
should tag
follow me.
LinkedIn on this and be like, "Hey, fix this."
Exactly. Let me have more followers, more connections. So follow me on LinkedIn. You can still do that for now. So that's good. And check out our YouTube page. And our goal is to provide valuable content out there for sales professionals to improve and get into that 1% ranking.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And whole point of the conversation, provide value, take your shoes off, listen, and not, what is it? Spray and
No spray and pray. That
no
should be
spraying and
our.
praying. So no spraying and praying. Stop sending those messages like, "Hey, like I can help you with your business processes." And I was like, "I don't even know who this person is." Stop doing
Oh
that
my
if you're
gosh.
doing that.
Oh my gosh.
And we thank Ben for taking a few minutes out of his day to share this valuable content with us. So thanks, Ben.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Josh.
Cool.